afternoon. Happy Wednesday. I just recorded this entire video only to have the audio suck because I'm on the road and tried using my AirPods. So that was really annoying. But I'm gonna just make a very abbreviated video this week. I know a lot of people probably don't even care about my like reasons or like my analysis. They just want the picks anyway. So we'll just quick recap last week with Charles Schwab. Overall, good tournament. Hit our best bet with Scotty finishing in the top five. In the prediction video, we said that probably come Sunday he'll be like a minus 5,000 on the live line to finish top five. Thanks to his hole in one, that ended up being the case. So that was an easy winner there. Ended up finishing T3. So the best bets have really been doing well. Max Homa finished T9. Unfortunately, there's a little bit of dead heat again there with him finishing tied with two other guys or three other guys, I guess, for two spots, but still netted over 1.5 units there. And then obviously, the top 20 cash too. As far as the outrights, Homa had a chance, but kind of fell apart a little bit on Saturday. But then, we did hit the live winner with Grillo in the extra holes, which was a nice, fun sweat. Really got lucky with that fortuitous bounce that I ended up rolling right next to the hole. And to his credit, he rolled it in for his second PGA Tour win. So always like Grillo. So overall, it was a good tournament. Profit of 2.08 units, which is nothing to write home about. But when you look at it from an ROI perspective, it was 19.69. And I'll never complain about a 2-unit tournament because as we can see, over time, that adds up considerably. And that moves the PGA to almost 100 units with a 30% ROI. So now that Hoops is almost over, I can put a lot more focus and attention and energy, honestly, and just mental clarity into golf. So I did a lot of work on the Memorial, so we'll hop right into it. Go over to the model here. Um, Let me just pull this back up at 36 rounds. I was going through it in the previous video, and like I said, unfortunately, lost that one. But we'll quick just talk about the course. Just gonna run through it really quickly. Muirfield Village, Jack Nicklaus design. You know, Named it after the course, one of his favorite courses in Scotland. So it's a par 72, a little bit over 7,500 yards after it's been renovated. It's a very difficult course, and it's going to require a few key stats. It's very penal to miss off the tee. So, good drives gained, as you can see, is a stat that we're focusing on. It also has the seventh smallest greens of any course on tour. Strokes gained approach, as always, is going to be important, as is greens and regulation gained, especially because, if you miss these greens, which is going to be inevitable given how small they are, surrounded by a lot of bunkers. There's 68 on the course, and there's 42 around the green. So, sand saves is going to be important as well, along with around the green play. And then, you know, there are 4 par fives on the course, and dating back to the past, 2 tournaments, they've been by far the easiest holes to score on, with the field birdieing them at a 31% clip. Strokes gained par five is a big stat, and then there's 7 par fours between 450 and 500 yards, and then the par threes are a little bit longer than average. So guys who can score well and gain strokes, between that distance of 200 to 225 is important. So really, I mean, the scoring is going to be done on the par fives for the most part. I mean, of course, some guys let some good approach shots into the par threes and fours and birdies, but the majority of the damage is going to be done on the par fives, and it's going to be a matter of holding serve as well as you can on the other holes. Bogey avoidance, very important for there as well. So when we run this model, attributing those stats with these percentages, this is what kicks back. So, no surprise, Scotty, who's been like next level good, is number one yet again. Rahm's number two. It's really splitting hairs between these guys. Scotty hasn't been great out of the sand, but this sample size isn't huge either. Scotty is an elite, you know, short game player. So, between the two, you really can't go wrong. But this week I do like Rom, mainly because Rom, like at his best, he's best in the world. He lost his number one ranking. I think that's going to motivate him a little bit, even though he said he didn't care about it. I think he does. But more than that, let's not forget that during the COVID year, this was Rom's tournament to win. He was running away with it, and he had to withdraw because he contracted COVID, which got Cantlay ultimately the win. So definitely like that revenge tour narrative for Rom. Plus like this course just absolutely fits him to a T. And typically the most well-rounded player who's in the best form ends up winning this event. So even though Rom's odds aren't great at 7.5 to 1, uh, I'm adding him to the card. I'm only betting him to win 5 units instead of the usual 8, because of that fact, or 6 rather, rather than the 8. To keep this right around that, a 1.5 units risk on the outrights. Yeah, so as you can see, our other guys, Turtle Hatton, 30 to 1, and then Hovland, 20 to 1. So, I'm attacking the top of the odds board this week, and I'm very confident in one of these three guys ultimately winning. Um, we can take a look at Hatton quickly. Hatton, really, no one's been playing better than him lately. 7 top 20s in his last 11 starts. As far as good drives gained, and like I said, like that's going to be like one of the most important stats. Good drives gained, greens in regulation, and then strokes gained par five. And you can see like he ranks in the top 15 across almost all of those most important statistics. He doesn't rank outside of the top 30 in any besides par threes in that specific distance, which is pretty granular, which is only a 5% only 5% of the overall pie for this course. So, Hatton, we've been riding him to great success. And, I did post this earlier in the week. He was my first click. Unfortunately, like I said, I'll be disappointed if these numbers don't have CLV by the end of the Wednesday night. Here we are. And sure enough, they all do. So, those numbers aren't there now, but they're still close and they're very bettable. So, no worries. But, make sure if you are just following this channel, give me a follow on Twitter. It's Steve P Betts, and I'll tweet things earlier in the week if I think that they're going to move when I'm doing my initial work. And then the other guy who I really like is Victor Hovland, and you know really his only flaw lately, because we're really looking for guys who drive it long, drive it straight, and have a great approach game. And that's really Hovland to a T. And now if you're looking at this is the past 36 rounds. His around the green game hasn't been great, and that's been his biggest flaw that's held him back. But that being said, if we just reduce this down to the last 12 rounds, he's in the top 40 in the field around the green. So it's not elite, but it's no longer a huge issue. To his credit, he hired a short game coach, and it's really been amazing what he's been able to do. Like, he's been in high pressure situations with chips. I mean, most notably at the Masters, where he was on that hill, and I thought, here we go. Here comes like a double bogey, and sure enough, chips it close to in. So, you know, Hovland, yeah, I mean, typically in courses like this where around the green game would be an important aspect, I would automatically, cross him off, you know, when I was looking at the field, but that's just not the case anymore. And I guess my only concern with Hovland would be the fact that, he's been in contention, for these past few weeks. And we saw it last Sunday where he, you know, had a chance to maybe, you know, close the gap, and he kind of just fell back a little bit. But the guy's young. He's only 25 years old, and this is a big tournament. With a strong field, so a win here would go a long way. So Hatton's or Hovland's sort of like a boomer bust type of a guy. So like I'm not playing him very heavily in the outright market or in the derivative market, but I do like him as an outright because I think his ceiling's very high, but his floor is a bit lower than Hatton's. Um, so Hatton, Rom, Hovland are our outrights. We'll move over to the card. Top 10. Rom, Hatton, and then Cantlay is our best bet. If there was ever a horse for a course, it would be Cantlay. At Muirfield Village, where uh, he's placed no worse than T4 in his last 4 starts here, including 2 wins. And you can see here, he's just elite. I mean, he's the second best in the field in strokes gained par five. Right behind Rom. Don't trust him to win because he's just a guy who finishes top 10 a ton. Like we just saw that back in the PGA Championship. He could certainly win this week, but rather than have to trust him to win, I prefer him to finish top 10. But I love that at plus 115 as my best bet. Top 20 again. Hatton, as touched on before. Hovland, not taking Hovland top 10 just because I said like maybe his floor is a bit lower. Just in case. It has nothing to do with his stats. Just I just worry slightly about fatigue, as touched on. And then our long shot of the week is Tom Kim, plus 220, who he ranks here at 17th in the model. But as you can see, like he really does pretty much everything well. He's very accurate off the tee. He's very you know, he's top 20 in strokes gained approach, and he's actually number two in strokes gained par threes at that specific distance because he's an elite long iron player. So as long as he can roll some putts, which he's one of the better putters on tour, but he's been struggling as of late. But I think you know at this course, it mitigates bad putters. So I think Tom Kim, if he can get hot with the putter, he could even potentially be in contention come Sunday. I'm not confident enough to take him above top 20, but I do think he's going to play well, and you know even a -6, -7 is probably going to be enough to get him in that share of the top 20. So that's the card for this week. Um, Hopefully we can keep it going. Like I said, we've been steadily gaining units in golf. Haven't hit it outright in a while. This week, I feel very good about our chances. With a gun to my head, I think Rom probably wins, which is why I'm laying the number that I am. But Hatton's due, and I think Hatton. I really have him circled for the British Open this year. But I don't want to be looking back on this tournament and say, man, I should have had Hatton, who I've been riding as the outright. So I certainly think that he can win, if not come very close. So he was close to my best bet in the top 10, but Cantlay is just so automatic at this course that if he doesn't finish in the top 10, that's a bet that I'm fine losing. So that's the card, guys. Best of luck. We'll be putting up a video tomorrow for the NBA Finals, giving our pick for Game 1, as well as previewing the series. So make sure to subscribe below. And good luck, guys. Enjoy the Memorial, and we'll be back next week. Take care.